They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned.
So we can see right here, based on the literal Department of Homeland Security, that the amount of undocumented immigrant population in the United States of America has decreased. Well, in 2022, which is the latest they have reporting for, decreased from 2018 and 2028. I don't know, it increased from 2020, but it decreased from 2018. Like, I mean, it's pretty average. There's nothing abnormal about recent years.
Savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into.
So the CP, the Customs and Border Protection, did release in May, in 2025, that the Border Patrol released 0 illegal aliens into the internal United States. That is their own reporting. They said they encountered 8,000. This was a 93% decrease. And they encounter while from UPBP. I mean, this is what they say. I don't know if it's true, but this is what they report, and they reported this in May. So
our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst.
This is from the American Immigration Council, in the Learning in the Shadow: How Immigration Enforcement Hurts Students and Schools. ICE has significantly increased enforcement through workplace raids, neighborhood sweeps, and community targeting, including near schools and places of worship. Policy that once protected these sensitive areas were revoked in January 2025. As a result, the second half of 2024 and 2025 saw a chilling effect where parents were pulling their children out of school, terrified that a parent, family member, or child could be detained or deported, as as students and families have been. When students are too afraid to go to school or are distracted by the threat of family separation to focus, their education suffers. These aren't isolated examples. As in 2023, approximately 5 million children in the United States lives with at least one undocumented family. The scale of the impact is national. And then the human cost. The human cost of Trump's immigration crackdown. On day one of Trump's second term, the Trump administration issued a flurry of orders calling for the shutdown of the border and ramped up aggressive immigration enforcement across the nation. The policy shift, overwhelmingly in support with decent and a need for balancing human decency with immigration enforcement. Over a decade, the ICE, Customs, and Border Control have followed distribute of sensitive locations in order to ensure that immigrants living in America could safely get education, seek emergency medical treatment, and seek religious solace without fear of detention or deportment. The elimination of these policies signals a troubling shift towards more punitive and dehumanizing approaches to immigration enforcement. As the U.S. grapples with this new reality, we must not predict the erosion of the fundamental civil liberties for undocumented immigrants will have an irreversible impact on all. The human toll, Trump's destructive and inhumane immigrant policy has already stroked fears within the immigrant community across the United States. That's exactly what he wants them to experience. These policies have resulted in children keeping their homes. Yeah, as we said. Similarly, ICE have entered hospitals in a gross abuse of power that has serious public health implication. Under federal law, hospitals regardless of immigration, but now this added fear, blah, 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 which creates a new public health risk. This fear will lead to preventable suffering and death, not only among undocumented immigrants, but also within the broader community. Infectious disease will spread unnecessarily. Chronic diseases will worsen. Chronic illnesses will worsen. An emergency situation that could have been easily treated will become fatal for those too afraid to seek help. These directives are terrifying children, family, and entire communities who now have to live in constant fear. Cruelty as a strategy has ignored the implication. Mass mislabeling all immigrants as criminals provokes a dehumanization not of immigrants but all people of color. Using criminalizing language makes our communities feel less safe. Mass deportation is not about law and order, it's about power and control. By the notion that undocumented immigrants are criminals, they normalize cruelty. This sends the clear message that immigrants are not welcome here. As highlighted in the recent Oxford article, less than 0.5% of 1.8 cases in the immigrants court during past fiscal year involving about 8,800 included deportment orders for alleged crimes other than entering the United States illegally. By misframing immigration enforcement as a fight against crime, the Trump administration is attempting to spin the story and obstruct the human costs of the policy.
To best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%.
Alrighty, so I wanted to confirm this, and Trump doesn't really give you a direct thing of what he means by drugs have decreased by 94%, but I just took drug deaths because that's the one he usually mentions, so I did drug deaths. Now, that decreased. You can see it decreased. He is correct, it did decrease. But you have to ask, first, this does not look like 94%, but we should check it. So how do you check it? You take every individual point. You might say, wow, that's a lot of points. So I added them together. Here's the work on that if you want to see that. But Biden's last year was 93,795 drug-related overdoses. And Trump's 4 months, because we do not have anything more after April, is 76,382. The decrease between that is 18.56%. So it is a decrease, but 1/4 of what he says. Now, he could mean the amount of drug seizures. Now, if you look at here, the amount of drug seizures have increased by, the amount of drug seizures have increased by 1.68% if you take Biden's last term, Biden's last year and take the recent one. So, whatever metric he means, this is overstated. Now, the direction is true, but it is massively overstated.
We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states where education belongs. After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even...
Alrighty, so let's check this military statement of we have the largest military. Well, first, if you come over here, you can see that China does. China has the largest military by far. But you might ask, how much larger? And I have the answer for you. China is 53% larger in military size, like how many personnel are in their military. Russia is 11% larger than us. Now, if you might say, well, we might not have those men, but do we have a larger in government spending? Correct. We are nearly 3 times as larger in military spending and 6 times as larger in 6 times larger compared to Russia, which is the second closest. Though, if you do per capita, Israel is beating us, and if you do per GDP, Ukraine is beating us, which is not surprising considering they're in a literal war. But, and also in percentage, again, they're in a literal war. But, you then may ask, well, is it any different than last year? Great question. So, I checked the federal budget of the United States of 2024, and it was $850 billion for our defense budget. Now I checked what the 2025 budget, and I went to the whitehouse.gov to find this, and I read through the PDF. Right here it says, the budget includes $850 in discretionary budget authority for 2025. It's the same. Now, I assume the increase is from the fact that the 2026 budget is supposed to be at $1 trillion. However, that hasn't happened yet. The 2026 budget hasn't fully finished. So, for right now, this is it. And I wouldn't say we have the largest army. That statement's just not true. We may spend the most, but we do not have the largest army. And it's, not even close.
Close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran.
All right, so Trump claims that he solved 8 wars. Now, the first part of the question is, has 8 wars occurred in the world in 2025? So we have the Russia-Ukraine war, we have the Israel-Palestine war, we have the Middle East crisis, we have the Sudan civil war, we have the Democratic Republic of Congo, we have the India and Pakistan conflict. We had the Marine Civil War, and we had several elections in sub-Saharan Africa. In sub-Saharan Africa. So, 8 things of conflicts did occur. If you're really stretching the definition, you can make to that point. Alright. So, technically, that's true. But he didn't just claim that. He claimed he solved 8 wars. So, let's go for each one. First, the Russia and Ukraine war. Hope for an immediate Russia-Ukraine peace seems out of touch of reality. Experts say the fundamental conflict is just as big today as the day the war started. The Gaza ceasefire still is fragile as cold turns deadly. The peace deal is fragile. You should read this. Sudan Civil War, a visual guide to brutal conflict. The Sudan brutal war has waged on for 2.5 years, displacing millions and killing in an excess of 150,000. Italy disputes Trump's claim that the U.S. trade incentives led to a ceasefire with Pakistan. According to a Newsweek conflicts, Al Ajit, a speech proponent of India's foreign minister, said the top leaders in New Delhi and Washington were in touch last week following the Indian military tensions but there was no conversation on trade. The issue of trade did not come up in any of these discussions. So, the statement seems just false.
And nuclear threat and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East and secured the release of the...
Okay, so there's a few things we can go off of for this 3,000-year claim. First, we can just go off of this one, which is a more in-depth thing about the conflict. It's in history about it. This one claims that the background of it started in the 19th century as a movement for a Jewish state increasingly drew traction as people increasingly migrated to the Ottoman Palestine to escape anti-Semitism in Europe, and linked it back to Jewish religion, culture, and history. So this one goes 19th century, which would be 200 years. Then we have Wikipedia, which Wikipedia says that the start of this was in I think it says 1966. 1967. Sorry, 1967. So either 1967, which would be 38 years. Sorry, not 38 years. 58 years, or it's 200 years. Neither of these are nearly at all close to 3,000, so I will say that is false.
The hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin.
Alrighty, so there's a lot of ways to check the economy, and there's a lot more economic stuff coming down the pike. So I'm just going to do GDP for this one statement. For quarter one and quarter two of 2024, we had 1.52% GDP growth. In quarter one to quarter two of GDP growth of Trump's term of 2025, we have 1.47, which is 0.05 less. I mean, it's barely anything, but it's not the economy bouncing back. He makes many more claims about the economy, so I will go into more depth for those. This is just a tiny correction that it's basically the same.
The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down and...
So, if you go over here, this is the inflation data for 2024 and 2025. We can see that it's basically the same. Nothing has changed. Prices have not gone down. They're increasing slightly slower and slightly slower by 0.2%, but that's basically the same.
bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22%, and in many states.
So, according to Cox Automotive's, car prices increased by at 15.61%, which, if you notice, is lower than 22 or 30%. Now, it says in some states, now you said over some states is 30% or more. I cannot find a per state value for the Biden year. I'm sure if I looked harder. But the statement is just, the first statement is wrong. He's directionally right. Yeah, cars got a lot more expensive during Biden's term. But the percent is wrong.
30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50.
So, according to the Energy Information Administration, the literal branch, the part of the government, gas prices have increased compared to from Jan 2021 to December of 2024. It increased 29.71%, which, if you notice, that is lower than 30 to 50%. It's directionally right. Gas did get more expensive during Biden's term, but the number is inflated.
50%. Hotel rates rose 37%.
I can't find its exact statistic for rent, hotel pricing, but I will say that there is a direct quote from the Bureau of Labor Security and Consumer Prices, where they say, estimated price changes for lodging establishments are often quite volatile because staple establishments tend to be in vacation areas such as beaches, ski resorts, and other areas with significant seasonal price patterns. A seasonal adjustment is published, which seasonally adjusted remove seasonal patterns. The non-seasonal patterns of basically they say that estimating price changes in lodging establishments such as hotels, motels, those places are often quite volatile because they live in areas that often have extreme seasonal pricing.
Airfares rose 31% now under our.
So if you couldn't guess, I did the math. This is from the Bureau of the Bureau of Transportation Statistics. This is from them, the Department of Transport. Here is I took the average from 2021, took the average from 2024. You divide the two, you get a increase of 24.82%, which is less than what he said. Still directionally light. It got more expensive to fly domestically, but not as much as he said.
Leadership, they are all coming down.
So, 2025 was supposed to be the year that you brought a car. Price hike and high inflation keeps cars waiting. Record-breaking $50,000 has been hit. And I'll give some credit. I did the math on that. On the domestic air flight, it has gone down by 3%. Though, I would like to say that it all hasn't been reported yet. I could only do the quarter two, so there's inaccuracy in that, but there is that. And I, again, could not find hotels, but I assume it's went down because rentals are kind of blowing up. But car prices have not gone down.
And coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving.
The Department of Agriculture reports that they predict between a For all food, they believe a 3% increase is going to happen. They believe a 2.4% increase will happen in food at home, and a 3.9% increase from food away from home. That's what their forecast was in September 2025. This is I believe probably pretty accurate. I could not, I mean, it's literally the Bureau of Agriculture, and they have no reason to say this as it directly hurts them politically. So I believe this. It's also we're almost over with 2025, so this is probably pretty accurate. So this is not going down.
That too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey.
This direct news article says that the production of turkey in the United States of America has fallen, which does, that does not fit predicts a fall of 5.1, a drop from 5.1 in 2024 to 4.8 million pounds, which that isn't conductive with a price decrease. However, they also say that grocery stores are eating the cost of turkey this Thanksgiving. So maybe that's what occurred. Because I do also see some other information online about the price of turkey being less. However, I don't. If the production goes down, the price goes up. So the fact that the price should not have gone down by how much, like 34%, like he says. But I can't not confirm or deny this claim.
Was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82%.
Okay, so he says since March, which is right here. Now, it does depend on what point of March you say. If you are talking about the beginning of March, that is 87% down, which actually would be him understating it because he said 82% down. However, if he meant the end of March, then it's overstating again because it's 67% down. So it depends on when of March you care about, but it's also during the term, and it's also the price of eggs, which he has like no control over. So I really don't know where to pull this.
Since March, and everything else is falling rapidly, and it's not done yet. But boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay.
I don't know what he thinks is historic, but the usual weekly earnings and wage and salary worker from the BLS reported that in quarter 4 of 2024, people made on a weekly earning average of $1,192. In quarter of 2025, it is reported to be $1,196. So I don't know if a massive increase is $4 to him, and it's massively rising, but it's $4.
At a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by 3,000.
All right. So from the BLS, we have the medium usual weekly earning and full-time wage and salary by sets quarterly average and seasonal adjustment. So here we take these two, and now you might ask, why are the numbers different? I could not tell you. It's from the BLS again. It should be the same, but it's not. But I just took the numbers from here. So we take quarter 1 of 2021, which would be right here. No, that's the wrong. We take this one, And then we take this one, which is quarter 4 of 2024. We divide those two, and we get 20.42% increase.
$1,000. Under Trump, the typical factory worker is seeing a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal.
So I can't find a thing for the individual per wage thing. I'm sure the BLS has it, but I can't find them reporting it. So instead, we go to we're going to do manufacturing wages just in general. So, you take, you know the scheme by now. You take Jan 24. You divide it by Jan 2024. You do the same for this year. You get, for Biden's last year in 2024, construction wages increased by 4.15%. Yeah, I said that right. And in this year, they've increased 3.15%. So it's actually less by 1%. Not much. I wouldn't even say anything about it usually, but nothing's changed.
It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation.
So, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they report that from September 2024 to September 2025, the real average hourly earnings have increased by 0.8%, which is not quick. It's not even something to note.
Remember that the wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time.
So, in the job market peaked in June of this year. In every month after that, we have lost jobs. Most small businesses are shrinking, while there are some large businesses that are still hiring. Construction and manufacturing is shrinking. Information, financial, personal businesses, services, all shrinking. The area that has the biggest growth is education and healthcare, according to the APD. Then we also have the unemployment rate hits a 4-year high in the last month. The unemployment rises to a 4-year high of 4.6 in November, and the economy added 604,000 jobs. We also have had some of the highest revisions. So, no, the job market's not doing well.
In American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of...
So, Bloomberg themselves says that Trump's $21 trillion investment boom is actually short trillions of dollars. Bloomberg Economics Analyze shows that real investment commitments are closer to $7 trillion, and many of those are in question. And they talk about it. You should read it if you want more detail. However, they say $7 trillion, and they're sketchy. Trump himself claims 9.6 trillion, and he said there 18 trillion. So he keeps inflating the number. Stick on a number. Claim something.
Of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs. which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record.
Here's a direct article from the Wall Street Journal. U.S. manufacturing contracts for the 9th straight month. Tariffs, which have increased costs for sourcing materials, continues to weigh on U.S. producers.
Numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen. AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it. 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000.
Okay, so here's a direct report on how the Big Beautiful Bill affected your income. Now, if you make under $51,000, you lost money by the Big Beautiful Bill being passed. Now, you might ask, oh, well, how many people make under $51,000? It can't be a significant amount, right? I don't know who asked that, but someone might ask that. Yeah, no, that is 58.52% of all Americans.
And $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas. So Warrior Dividend.
All right. So the tariff money by quarter 2 of 2025, which was reported by the Commission of a Responsible Federal Budget in October 27, said that it was $195 billion. And we have 2,070,000 military personnel. So if you take the two, you get you would get $94,000, which could actually fund a check for $1,776 each one. That is not including the fact that this was already planned as a previous thing by the Pentagon, so it's not like Trump is doing it with the tariff money, and it's not like it's not like he hasn't claimed the tariff money will be spent for other things as well. So this statement in itself is factually possible, but it is not true still.
In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment.
This is true. The Department of War reported that it beat its goal of, I believe it's 61,000 troops, 4 months ahead of schedule. They have record recruitment. Now, that isn't a good thing. We don't actually like when we have record recruitment. It's a sign that economic conditions are bad. But this is something that is happening.
Numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interests to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 6.
So this is mathematically impossible. You cannot decrease something by more than 400, right? More than 100%. You can't do it. That's 100% is giving it away for free. 400% is I'm paying you, right? If I'm charging something for $10, 400% is I'm paying you $30 to take it. That cannot occur. That can't happen. So, it's just wrong. It's impossible.
100%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward, and I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up. But now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. It's called most favored nation, and no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now. The first of these unprecedented price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, trumprx.gov. And these big price cuts will greatly reduce the cost of health care. I'm also taking on the gigantic health insurance companies that have gotten rich on billions of dollars of money that should go directly to the people. The money should go to the people. That's you. So they can buy their own health insurance, which will give far better benefits at much lower costs. It will be far better health insurance. The current Unaffordable Care Act was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad health care at much too high a cost. And you see that now in the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are demanding those increases, and it's their...
Again, this happened a month ago. The government shutdown was about this, literally. It literally was if Republicans were all fine and dandy with the Affordable Care Act continuing, and Democrats wanted that, then why did we have a government shutdown? I don't think I need to talk about this one. This is obviously just a lie.
Fault. It is not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Unaffordable Care Act, and everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich, and the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. Another major focus is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that.
I mean, it has gone up. It's remarkably consistent. I mean, between right now and 2020, it's been staying about the same. And between here, like, it's not much changed. He did declare a national emergency But nothing really changed.
$5,000 to $10,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon. And within the next 12 months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody, or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under Democrat rule. In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's coming down.
So, according to the Louisiana Federal Reserve, it's pretty accurate. So, the price of housing during Biden's term annually went up by 15.6%. Year over year, or $93,000. And in Trump's 2 quarters, because that's only we have reporting, it has gone down by 0.27, which is barely anything.
A lot lower. Wait till you see the numbers are going to be shocking. And I'll soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this, in the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion.
So, according to the Joint Center for Housing Studies, while it is certainly high, it's certainly true that the number of immigrants who arrived in the most recent surges in 2022 and 2023 were historically high. The CBO estimates that the level of immigration surge from the average of 1,990,000 in 2020 and 2021 of 2.7 thousand in 2022 and 3.3 thousand in 2023. However, the timing of these surges do not line up with the substantial increases of housing prices and rents over the recent years. Figure 2. How housing prices surged in both 2021 and 2020 and 2021. Rents reversed and slightly dipped in 2021 and sharply increased in 2021. After the spike in 2022, the growth in rate of housing prices and rent slowed substantially. By 2023, as the surge in immigration continued, the housing price fell even further, and rent growth completely stalled.
We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers.
So we can see, based on the Freddie Reserve Bank of St. Louis, that it increased by $27 billion.
So high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing.
So we can see clearly by the statistics I've showed you previously, I'm not going to show them again because I literally showed them before, that housing barely went down by 0.3%, and jobs have actually there are more people unemployed in the United States of America.
And more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens.
I mean, I don't need to fact check this. There has been no job creation. We can say that they all went to Americans since there's been none. It hasn't occurred.
100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.